This episode of the Coarse podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Hey, this is Chef Dave Martin. You're listening to Shawn Rosler on the Coarse Grind podcast. Let's eat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode number 187 of the Coarse Grind podcast. My God, the episodes are getting closer to my weight every day. I'm a svelte 195. I'm lying. With you, as always, host, creator, Shawn Rosler. How is everyone doing this evening? You know, one of the best parts of getting to do this show is watching folks come in and out of focus, only to hopefully maybe one day return and share just what's been going on. Truth be told, honestly, that's likely one of my favorite types of episodes. Hell, they're all my favorite. And, well, this episode just happens to be one of those visits with an old friend style. So here we go. If you want to get the full origin story, head on back to episode 42. Yes, that long ago, 2016. But our guest tonight, in a nutshell, was born and raised in Southern California, fell in love with food at an early age surrounded by family. He tried IT, the tech bubble burst, so it was back to culinary school. Adding French training to the cooking skills he'd garnered from cooking and baking with his family over the years, he was one of the true TC, that's Top Chef, OGs, that's Original Gangsters, and that's how most have come to fall in love with his personality and cavalier, if I may, culinary style. He's consulted, he's written, he's developed products, he's taught, he's done private appearances, and serves as the brand ambassador for more items than I can mention. The list seriously goes on. And now, as if he didn't have enough of a lacking of free time, a cookbook, specifically My Tequila Diet. I don't even want to spoil any of it with spoilers, but if it's got tequila, it's got my attention. Good tequila, by the way, none of that paint thinner shit. His talents and story go as deep as his heart, and no, he's still not your bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my guest this evening, making a victory lap back to the show to talk tequila and food with his My Tequila Diet, Top Chef OG and culinary phenom, the Chef Dave Martin. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, Shawn. Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Better that I'm talking to you. You know, you talk about a pleasant surprise to open your DMs, and it's literally DM. It's Dave Martin, you know, saying, hey, by the way, I got this book. I couldn't believe it. I'm so stoked to talk about the cookbook, but for folks who maybe didn't catch us the first time around, I want to give them a little backdrop on you. Folks new to the show, folks with terrible short-term memories like yours truly, starters, mains, and afters. We're going to play them a little differently tonight, kids. Dave's been here before, and, you know, the chef's a busy author, so we can't waste time here. Starters, we're going to talk about where he came from, but also where he's been since 42. Mains, we're going to talk about the book. And finally, afters, we will touch on those wonderfully zany questions one more time just to see how the answers match up. So without further ado, Chef Dave Martin, fill us all in either again or for the first time about where and what Chef Dave Martin grew up eating.
You know, I mean, pretty simple, you know, good real food. I mean, everything was from scratch. We didn't really, you know, baked goods. Everything were homemade. So whether it was my mom, my dad, you know, my grandmother when I was up in Oregon, you know, but definitely, you know, we weren't like fast food people. You know, no soda. You know, so actually we ate pretty good. Very different than what, you know, is out there today.
Absolutely. And I remember from the first lap, I mean, again, that's 2016, so I'm pretty proud that, you know, Mom and Grandma were really kind of present there. If you had to pin one, who would you say was your greatest culinary push growing up?
I mean, you know, obviously with my mom more, so, you know, she was always cooking and baking, so, you know, there's just more face time there, so, yeah, my mom.
Got it. So, you know, again, folks, I encourage you to go out to the channel, go out to iTunes, check it out, episode 42. You know, if you want to hear the backstory, it is truly amazing, as is every aspect of this guy. But I want to catch up, man. 2016 to now, it's a long time. What has Dave Martin been doing since then?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess so much. I didn't realize it was that long ago. I thought it was a couple years ago. But anyway.
It always feels that way until you realize it. It's like...
Yeah. I mean, I finished my tour of duty in New York. So I left New York in 2019 in August. So from the last time I talked to you, I finished what was happening there, which, a lot of consulting projects, did several things in the city, as well as doing some private, a little mixed bag of everything, but the majority was kind of consulting those last couple of years from when we once spoke. And then from there, actually after I had spoken to you in 2017 is when the Tequila Diet kind of started in terms of an idea and, we can get into that later, but so that kind of, the book has been about, 4 to 5 years in terms of, research and production. So,
nice.
But it did start shortly after that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I mean, what a wonderful name. I mean, you had me, first of all, you messaged me, you have my attention, but listen, you messaged me with Tequila Diet, you definitely have my attention. But to take a step back from that for just a second, and I think there's probably a basic element to this question, but again, I imagine there's more to it than just the surface. What inspired you to go cookbook, aside from being the amazing, omnipresent chef that you are? Like what brought you to that?
Well, I had an opportunity to do a dinner with this tequila brand, Bastogne Del Rey, which is the book partner that I have. It's an amazing tequila, and I met them in Sun Valley, Idaho, when I did a dinner for them. And at that same time, I kind of pitched the idea, which it kind of came, the whole thing came about. I was in Italy for several weeks. I gained a bunch of weight. I came back to New York, and I was like, oh my God, I can't have pasta or pizza or wine. So I did my regular eating, working out, and drank only tequila and lost 8 pounds. And so I started saying I'm on the tequila diet, and that's kind of how it started, as like a skit and a story of what kind of went on with me. And then I pitched that in turn to the owner of Bastogne Del Rey, and he just loved the idea. And from there, kind of the idea was born, and then, built the concept out further. And into, the logical thing was the cookbook. It's a lifestyle book, right? It's a combination of both food and beverage, and really it's about, it's about Mexico, and I have been in love with Mexico my entire life, and, I'm there 4 or 5 times a year. So, it's kind of, an homage to all of the different regions that I've been to and all of the foods that I've experienced there. And now that I'm in San Diego now, so I've had a couple years back on the ground close to the border, and so that even helped to inspire the development that happened in New York versus coming back here. And I just, some of the recipes, evolved and even changed a bit, because of being so close to the source.
Yeah. And I did not realize that we had that in common before. My wife and I, BK, before kids, we went to Puerto Vallarta and ended up getting sucked into a timeshare deal, which we never saw the refund for, but we go down now because the boys are big enough, and I'm fluent in Spanish, and it's wonderful. Awesome. It is just a beautiful, beautiful country. I have said probably more times than not, like, look, when we retire, I'm good to come down here. Like, I'm good to stay.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The people are beautiful. And most importantly, the food is beautiful. I'm out, like, looking at the sites, and the imagery alone is enough. Like if you can't look at Mexican cuisine and just appreciate the color, the absolute spectrum of colors first. And then I can only imagine the aromas that come with it and the taste that come with it, and so on and so forth. I'm drooling on my keyboard. I'll stop. Let's talk about then. So the book, we kind of understand it was your trip to Italy, and the whole kind of formation of the diet. But talk to me about the recipes themselves that are in there. Where are you pulling from to really, like, be inspired by them? Are they just straight up transfers from Mexico to the book? I imagine they go through you, the filter, the talent.
It's dishes that I've grown up with and that I've had all my life, and favorites that, people know about, and it's covering the broad base from, breakfast and brunch all the way through, every single course in between rolling into dessert. So it's everything from, a huevos rancheros or a chilaquile for breakfast or brunch into, homemade churros, in the final course. So it's really a little bit, it's a lot of classics, then it's a lot of things that I love. Like, I've been doing my triple chili enchilada sauce for years. Things like that are in there, as well as mole, which I'm a huge fan of, and I've really gotten that. I've learned a lot about that, the whole mole, and all the different styles of mole, and so that's, there are things in there, of course, a huge array of salsas, that,
For sure.
Everything from a tomato-based salsa to a fruit-based salsa, and you can, like, obviously the mole is a little bit more technique, and it's really more ingredients than, the technique is, there is technique, but it's the ingredients and knowing how to put them together in the right balance.
Absolutely.
It's a mole negro that's in the book, but, so what is very important to me, and I've done so much recipe development that's consumer facing. So, with the different commodity brands that I've worked with, like California Walnuts and Alexia the potatoes, all these different groups. So what's important to me in a cookbook, which is for the home cook, not that a chef couldn't pick this up and learn something too, but, that things are accessible. Like, I really made, I'm really trying to make it accessible, understandable, and especially even in the cocktail section, you don't need to be a mixologist to create these cocktails. You don't need 36 ingredients. It's not done that way. So,
I agree.
Great, there are great flavors and spins on things and classics, but it's not overly complicated. Like I said, there are some more, technique and recipes that take a little more skill, but, there's salsas and there's tortillas. You can go, I think, again, thinking of the home cook and things of that nature, the way I've written things allows you to create the combinations and mix and match. Like, for example, empanadas, which in my book need to be fried, not baked. But anyway, I tell, there's all these different braised meats and things or veggies that you can put in there. So it's not just written as like barbacoa beef empanadas. I give you the dough, and then there's all these other items that you can create, or say you want to make the dough and use rotisserie chicken that you get at the market, so you can kind of mix, and it's set up very much mix and match, so that, if you don't want to make the homemade tortillas, you can do this or that, but if you want to go crazy, you can make everything from scratch. You
can do it all.
I'm really allowing the customer or the home cook to, customize it based on what their likes are. Maybe they don't eat beef, so they could use chicken, or they can use pork, or they can use, a veggie filling that is in the book. So that's something that was very important to me in terms of the construction. Accessibility, great dishes, great flavors, but then also full customization.
I love it. I mean, I love it all. And again, to take a quick step back for folks who maybe aren't as familiar as you and I, some terms got thrown out there. Chilaquiles, I'm gonna level with you. I have to tell you this dare that I do with myself. Where we have a property at, the Chilaquiles are just sinister. They're wonderful. And my challenge to myself is to eat it for breakfast all week. And I do.
Right.
And I come back, I'm literally 20 pounds plus. Like, it's not even fair. It ain't nice. But Chilaquiles, for folks who maybe aren't aware, and I probably do a bad job of explaining, what exactly are Chilaquiles, Dave?
I mean, it's really it is very simple in terms of construction. It's essentially tortilla chips that are tossed with a sauce or salsa, like you can do
like rojo, verde, anything.
Exactly. You can do a green or red or whatever, floats your boat, but those chips are tossed in that sauce when they're hot. You warm up the chips, the sauce is warm, you toss that all in, and then you finish with, the egg and, whatever you want to do in terms of, garnish and things like that, whether it's cilantro, crema, a little bit of whatever, but it's kind of like, it's almost like a breakfast nacho kind of.
Yes,
yes.
I've said that. I'm so glad you said it. It makes me feel better about myself now.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it is. You know what? And like I said, you're finishing with, the cotija, the crema. You know, if you want more hot sauce, if you want, pickled jalapenos, whatever you kind of want to do. But the core composition of the dish is the red or green sauce, tossed with the chips, and finished with egg. Yes.
Yeah. So chilaquiles is me all week. Another term you mentioned, and I know, folks, you've probably heard of it before, but again, I take a knee in deference to Dave here on mole. So mole, to my understanding, 40 ingredients, most complicated sauce to make. I imagine the 40 is like a potential, exaggeration, walking uphill 5 miles both ways to school.
Yeah, and it's not 40. It is probably a good 20 something, but
sure.
And mole, there are 7 different moles out there. Okay, so there's a red mole, a black mole, a green mole, yellow mole. It's all kind of based on regions and what's available, and some may have different seeds and nuts and chilies, and the mole negro has a little bit of dark chocolate in there, but it shouldn't ever taste like dessert or sweet. There's in this mole there are golden raisins, almonds, dark chocolate, cinnamon, all of these warm spices. I love to throw oxtail in there. That just gives a real,
oh my God.
That just gives you some real viscosity, to the sauce itself. But, it's, like I said, they do have quite a few ingredients. This is kind of one of the classic ones, the Negro Mole. But like I said, there are 7 moles in the mole world, and this is just an example of that. And I don't order it out in a restaurant very often unless I know the restaurant, because it's and that's the thing. Mole's gotten a bad name because people just not necessarily execute it properly. It takes some skill. So this one is one that if you follow the direction, you're going to end up with a wonderful sauce. That I eat mole like soup in Mexico, so I really like it. Yeah, I eat it every morning for breakfast. Actually,
that's beautiful, because again, a good mole, and see, a good mole is one of those grandmother things, right?
Yes.
You can't come off a 4-year study and say, well, I make the perfect mole. Like shit, you do. You have to be 85 years old with 2 bad knees, and you've earned that mole at that point.
Oh yeah. And I've worked on mole for so long, and gotten tips from chefs in the various regions in Mexico. Whether it's a tip from the guy in Cancun that was at one of the resorts, I talked to the chef there, and he told me about the gamesa, the cookie. That is in the dish as well, or you can buy a ginger cookie in the U.S. So there are all these little secret things that. That's a sauce that I've worked on for several years, and I've nailed it, and I'm super happy with my version. Not that I love when it's made correctly for me, but I make it here in batches and keep it in the freezer and bring it out whenever I need it.
Well, it's so communal too, and I think that's the part that I love most about taking my boys then down into Puerto Vallarta or the Mercado or wherever, and grabbing a street taco with them and letting them taste what honestly food from the soul feels like. And just one other aside, a soapbox moment, if I may, in defense of Mexican cuisine, because everyone's real quick to elevate other cuisines as, well, this is vegetarian forward. Mexican cuisine is one of probably the most veggie-centric, that's including beans, because they've always had the vegetarian option, and everybody likes to just kind of turn a blind eye. I don't know why, but it's honestly, if I had to eat vegetarian the rest of my life, Mexican cuisine would be my go-to, hands down.
Yeah, they're, and the way, their style and the way of eating as well, it's, again, it's always very family style, and it's customizable, so you can have what you'd like, but veggies are a huge part, whether they're pickled or raw or, whatever format they're in, or roasted, or the composition, for a chili relleno, so.
Oh, Jesus. That's also one of my guilty pleasures.
Yeah, I have one in the book. It's actually a baked chili relleno, because I don't like everything fried, and you really, if you roast the pepper right and then you fill it, it does not need to be fried. I prefer it. I don't need the coating. So, I'm a big poblano fan anyway. So, there is again some of those classic dishes, but not always done super heavy. Like, there's a carnitas, obviously, but it's not fried. It is a tequila braised carnitas, so it's equally amazing, but you don't need the frying for everything. So,
exactly. And I mean, to be fair, I think there again, that's where people who maybe aren't as aware as they could be come across unaware and form a judgment that is inaccurate. Like, not everything is fried. Like, it doesn't have to be.
No, not everything is fried. And there's a balance of everything, like we're talking about with the vegetables and things like that. Like, it's not just all animal based, and it's not all deep fried, and it doesn't have to be heavy. So
all those three things, because trust me, man, if you were eating heavy all day and you're down there in that heat, you're gonna die. You're gonna die quickly.
Oh yeah, completely. And and that's a lot of, sometimes it's because people haven't been and they don't know the culture in the region. Like, they don't put cheese on everything. Okay, some regions don't even really use cheese at all. So, like, the American version of a taco is very bastardized and not necessarily what you're going to see. Like, you talked about the street tacos with your kids. The typical garnish for the street tacos is, onion and cilantro. It's not, they're not covered in cheese, and they're not cheesy. There is, some cheese here and there, but, they don't necessarily have cheese enchiladas.
No, exactly. And I mean, cotija is used sparingly. Like, it's not constant. It's not all over everything.
Exactly.
We're talking about a whole lot of ingredients. But we got to get to the core here, because I want to know, I understand why tequila, it was Baston Del Rey, the dinner, and it started the idea. But I have to imagine before you ran into them, like, tequila was like a passion of yours. And why, how does one, Dave, I have to know this, how does one construct a goddamn cookbook around it and do it well, which I know you have, because I've looked at it, I'm like, holy shit, I need more tequila in my life. I love it. How is it so versatile?
Well, one of the things I think I talk about in the book is, and it is, so, we've got the cocktails and all the dishes, and it's in a lot of the dishes, whether it's a ceviche or, whether it's the meats and such, and it's used, when we're talking about the hot dishes and such, I equate it to, like, in French cuisine when we're using sherry, or, in Italy and stuff, using marsalas, all of these fortified wines that we use to kind of deglaze the pan. It's kind of used in that same application, and it works wonderfully. It's not about, just like a sherry in a soup or a sauce from France, that just gives you a layer of flavor. It's not like you're going to taste the sherry. Same thing with the tequila. Like, it's not going to be like drinking the tequila, but it's used like that in some of the savory applications. Where it makes sense. So that was part of the backbone of the book, and the way that I built it out is to, have it in, it's probably in like 80% of the recipes. Like, certain things I was like, it's just not a fit. I'm not going to force it. But it's really, those notes are all the way through, and we do have the 4 different varietals represented, which Baston Del Rey has the 4, which is the silver, the reposado, the añejo, and the extra añejo, and those are all based on basically just straight distillation, moving in through, more aging and the types of barrels and such. So, those are in the cocktails and the dishes. There's the thought behind that of which is best for that application in terms of flavor profiles and such. So, and there's a little bit about tequila, and, there's a story there, so there's a lot of information in the book, and I think it's a great, for someone, if they haven't ever experimented with Mexican food, I think it's a great jumping off point, because there's so much content in terms of, like I said, the classic dishes hitting in all of the categories, and you can make feast after feast, and just there's a lot of exploring. There's a lot of exploring available in the book, and I make it approachable.
Definitely. And I mean, again, that's why I'm kind of rolling back and asking you these questions, because I know more than anybody you have the ability to make it approachable. And again, I imagine the exact same, just looking at the couple recipes out on the site here, they make sense because you can tell they're filtered through somebody who is looking to both cook and to teach. And I think that's an important balance to strike for sure. And so you mentioned all the different types of tequila, and for folks, maybe new to that playing field, if you're a Scotch fan, you know what aging does. You understand what aging does. If you're a wine fan, you get what that does.
Right.
What can also be said is that the different colors impart different heavinesses, and I mean that in a loving way. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference between maybe a silver versus a gold and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, again, what happens is, with the aging process, and whatever barrel time and such, your flavor profile is changing. So the silver, which, some brands may only have like a silver and a reposado. The silver is typically, because there is no, it's just distilled 2 or 3 times or whatever based on the brand. But, that's going to be the rawest version of a tequila. And typically if it's not well done, it's going to be sharp and have, to me, a burn. This brand that I work with, it does not have a burn. It is much smoother in style, but that is going to be, to me, the harsh. My favorite is actually the reposado, so that has some aging. So there is a little bit more flavor to it. I like that level. Listen, I enjoy an añejo and an extra añejo, but that's really where you get more into those sipping things, and you're moving in more into the scotches and the whiskey in terms of style and characteristics with regard to flavor. So people that love those, if they haven't ever explored añejo and extra añejo, that's really what you're getting. You're getting more of that, deeper smoke and those types of characteristics from the barrel time and, the charred barrels and things like that.
I'm so thrilled to hear you say smoke, because I always struggled, and I never talked to somebody as knowledgeable as you about it. I always wanted to say that it was similar to that charred inside of the barrel, and I wasn't sure if I was right there. So that's where that gold color is coming from.
Yeah, the color and the caramel colors, that's all coming from the barrel and the time that it's spent. Kind of like a red wine is from the skin of the grape.
Right.
If you don't have the skins, then you don't have the red. So it's kind of like similar where the color comes from, and then these are smoky. Those varietals are smoky. Even reposado typically has a little bit of smoke to it, but nothing like a mezcal. I don't like mezcal. I don't want it. I've had it. I've tried it. So it's, although these have notes of smoke as you get into the higher end or longer aged, not like a mezcal. Okay. That is that's its own thing. No, thank you. So, people love it, and I know it's very hip out there in the marketplace, but no, that's not, I don't. No. So
All right. Very good. Very good. So there's your crash course, kids. Learn from us. I would share more tequila stories, but I don't know that the statute of limitations has expired yet on my potential charges, so I'll let those go. Hey, looking at the book, Dave, I got to ask you, if you had to pick 1 or 2 favorite recipes that you have, not too much of a spoiler alert here, kids. Be sure to check it out, mytequiladiet.com. But if you had to name 1 or 2 favorites, what would they be?
I mean, I know I've kind of already mentioned them, but truly the mole and the triple chili enchilada sauce, if people like an enchilada sauce, it is just so full of flavor and so delicious. Again, I eat it on everything, both of those sauces. And I know I talked about the empanadas, but I've tried empanadas all over the world. Yeah. But this is a very rich butter dough, and it has some chili powder in it, and so it's just very rich. You fry them perfectly with whatever filling. It doesn't matter what's inside it, but it is a really wonderful dough that isn't complicated by any means, and very simple. And, a lot of the braised meats and things that I have, I'll also share that I've got all the Instapot recipes versions as well. So, because that's really one of my favorite tools for braised meats and things of this nature where, you don't have to have it in the oven for 3 or 4 hours. So it has both the stovetop and the Instapot methods for any of those braised dishes.
Did you become a Catholic priest since last we talked? Because you're absolving me of a lot of my sins. For the longest time, I gave all the shade and the side eye to the Instapot until we got one, and I made risotto. And my life has not been the same since. I'm not going to lie. I don't use it all the time. But I'll tell you, I was beyond impressed, like beyond impressed.
Yeah, it's really great, and I'm not just the braised meats. I'm a huge bean person, so it's actually how I do all my beans, and there's no soaking involved. It's not, soaking overnight, cook on the stovetop for 3 hours. So all of several different bean versions, whether it's refried or whatever, the different types of beans, but they're all no soak. So I did put a soak method in there, so if you have nothing but time and you want to spend 2 days making beans, but, it's very, so there's a lot of, tips and tricks and shortcuts and using some of these tools that we have available in the kitchen today pressure cookers have been around forever, but I'm referencing the electric versions that, really help make life easy in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they absolutely do. And again, I stand culinarily corrected. And at the same time, as I'm scrolling up and down mytequiladiet.com, looking at these pictures, I mean, those empanadas are almost pornographic.
They're good. They're
in nature.
So good.
They look so thick and yet crisp. And that's a hard balance to strike.
It's the butter dough. The butter dough is critical.
The butter dough is critical. I think we need that on a shirt, Dave. I'm not going to lie. The butter dough is critical.
Exactly.
So my Tequila Diet, what's next? I mean, this book is rolling out. Stay tuned, people. Be watching the socials, everything for it. But what happens? What happens in the next 6 months, the year, the 2 years? What's after this? Is it another book?
We'll see. I mean, this is my big focus and big rollout for the next 6 months, and then, I haven't quit my day job in the middle of all this, so I'll be on the East Coast pretty much all summer, toggling between the Hamptons and Cape Cod for a couple clients.
Very nice.
So consulting is starting to trickle a little bit, so I've had some conversations with some groups out in LA and Del Mar, and we'll see. But so that is, it's starting to come back. And I've got, what else am I doing? Oh, I'm also doing all of these curated trips to Europe. So my first one, I'll be taking a group of 16 or 18 people to Provence, and we are there for 10 days and with the sommelier and running around, and we're with the local tourism board. So we're with the winemakers, and it's like a real fun journey. I cook with everyone a couple nights in our villa, and so that's a new thing that is coming online with my first trek this October, and then next spring and early fall I'll be taking a group to Italy, and then Tuscany and Parma, and then another one to Spain, and then another one to Argentina. So I've got these tours that I am actually starting as well, and then I have a food startup that I have put together, and we're in the due diligence phase and just confirming things, and we'll see if we can get that off the ground as well.
Good God, it sounds. First of all, all those places sound terrible to go to. I'm so sorry that you have to endure it. But I mean, if anything, you are busy, friend, and I love it. I love every single bit of it. And, obviously, here at the show, we're behind you 100%. Got a little bit more time for a couple afters questions, sir? A little bit more irreverent?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Let's go back, if we can, to the first interview, 42. And I'm going to ask you the same questions here, just 3 of them, nothing big. But let's see how your answers stuck. If we're cooking together in your kitchen, right? You and me cooking, I can hold my own, but you've got control of the radio or the Pandora or the Alexa. I don't know how close it is to you, so I didn't want to trigger it. What are we listening to?
Oh gosh, music-wise. I've got a lot of new music now. What am I doing? Let's see. I still have my old classics like Groove Armada and Thievery Corporation, but, I've got some Tame Impala. I've got some Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande. I like them. So I've actually done some pop has been integrated. I've switched to YouTube Music, and I've just gotten a lot of cool, new and different stuff because my music was kind of stale. But yeah, so
I appreciate that.
It's definitely it's an interesting mix.
All right, yeah, I like it. And that Groove Armada was some round one stuff in 2016. So well done.
Yeah,
you passed there. You passed your muster. Next question: we're going to strand you on a deserted island. You can only bring 3 foods or food type items with you, inexhaustible supplies through the power of imagination, but only 3. What would they be and why?
Well, one is pizza because I just had some pizza, but I eat pizza so like 5 days a week.
Also tracks. Next.
It's a thing. Okay, I have 3 things. Pizza. I mean, I really do love chips. So
love it.
I love chips. So I would definitely need some chips. I'm more salt than sweet. I love sweet, but definitely chips, pizza. Third thing. Shit.
I mean, do we go tequila in honor of the episode?
What? Yeah.
Do we go tequila in honor of the episode?
Oh, yeah. If I can have a beverage, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
All the way. Yes. Reposado, for sure.
You're literally like my best friend on the island right now. Pizza, chips, and tequila? Like, screw it.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just go out like that.
Health freak.
Exactly. And finally, Chef Dave Martin, simplest question, and yet most complex. What is food to you in a single word?
Food is everything.
Also tracks. Good Lord, man. You got a memory
Did I say
like
that last time?
You are, if anything, you're consistent, my friend. Well done.
I said that last time?
You did. Well,
oh my God, I have no idea. I had no idea.
Well done, friend. You pass. Not that you were here for a test, but you pass anyway. Awesome. The book is The Tequila Diet. The author, Chef Dave Martin, Top Chef OG, original gangster, mytequiladiet.com. I'm going to imagine there are multiple distribution routes, but I will let you plug away on that. Talk to us.
Yeah, so if you go to the main site, which is My Tequila Diet, because the Tequila Diet was taken and whatever, you don't want that.
Who took that? The hell with them.
It's not even a real thing. But if you go to My Tequila Diet, I've got personalized signed copies that I'm doing the same price as it is going to be on the other platforms. So you can pre-order on Amazon. It's on iBooks. I'll tell you the real deal is the ebook. We've priced it at $9.99 on all platforms. So that's everything from Amazon, Google Play, iBooks. It's a screaming deal. The physical book is, it's a self-published book. It costs a lot to print. I'm not making a ton of money. It had to come in at $40, but there's so much content and so much went into it that it is worth it. And the hard copies, those can come from my site or also the Book Baby platform, or you can pre-order on Amazon. But any author there's a 60-day you can pre-order, but those won't come out right away. So if you want it right away, go right to My Tequila Diet, and we've got all the tabs on there on the shopping, and there's lots of snippets of the content on my site as well as Amazon, so you can kind of dig a little deeper to see what's there, but lots of options to where you can get the book as well. BarnesandNoble.com, pretty much everywhere it's starting to populate and is available and will become even more available.
Exactly. MyTequilaDiet.com. Again, folks, listen, I've said this for years, and I don't typically plug away after my guest is plugged, but I am going to say this. If you want something that matters, that truly matters, that tangible physical copy to be able to look through, to be able to look at your Post-its from 5, 6, 7 years ago, there's nothing like it. I know I'm going to go out. I'm going to go get mine. You need to get yours today. MyTequiladiet.com. Go out, order the books, check it out. If you're more of a Kindle person, and I know some of you are, again, the digital version, absolute steal. El Bastan, Del Rey, the tequila is all over the place. Go out, check out the site. I mean, truly drink it in deep, because it is a really well-done site. Again, I know this. I do these when it's not my full-time job. But this is a beautiful site, pretty site. My Tequila Diet on Instagram. The Tequila Diet FB on Facebook. On Twitter, it's My Tequila Diet. And you can email them at chefdavemartin@gmail.com. Any questions, anything like that, reach out, let them know. Again, the Tequila Diet, incredible cookbook. Cannot wait to see it. Dave, a pleasure as always, sir.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 187 with the illustrious tequila master, Chef Dave Martin. Our producer, as always, this evening has been the Reverend Johnny Lamoria, a.k.a. Johnny Weaven Robinson. Be sure to check out all the Pennsylvania Pirate Party happenings. That's alliteration, if I remember. Out on the Book of Face and on the Gram of Insta. Next episode is going to be number 188. You will not want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Retour aux sources pour se régénérer. Retour aux sources, avance vers le passé. Retour aux sources, batterie rechargée. Retour aux sources, enfin tout recommencer.
Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company at 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA, has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.